Hello, everybody. We've got
Hello.
Randy and Shannon. True crime
Hey,
with
y'all.
Shannon.
Hey, y'all.
Frank,
Fun
you're
time.
muted. You're
Yeah,
muted.
he's talking. He's talking.
Oh, he's talking to somebody?
There he goes. No, there he goes.
Nope. The neighbors are outside. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
he's
Make sure we don't hear Blade.
What's up, y'all?
How
Y'all.
is everybody
Hey,
doing?
Frank.
Hey,
Hey, Shannon. Nice to
Hey.
see you.
Nice to see everybody.
Well, first of all, we want to start off on wishing one of the angels heavenly happy birthday to Anna Williams. Yes. She would have been 19 years old today.
You mean Abby Williams?
I mean, Abby Williams. I'm sorry.
Abigail.
That's okay.
But if anybody saw my post on Facebook, and I'll let her know real quick, we got this from here and out. So,
Yep.
GH.
She would have been 19 today.
That's amazing. It's hard to think about that.
yeah.
It is. So, we are on tonight. We're being joined by Shannon. All of her information is in the description for this video. Please go and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's got a blog. What else did you give me today?
I think I gave you my Twitter.
And the
I'm
Twitter,
on there a
yeah.
lot. Yeah. So those are kind of the places because I'm trying to do more videos, but I'm at heart I'm a blogger, but I look back, I started in November doing this. So it's new, but you got to start, and it was hard at first because you get kind of like you're not scared, but you're going, oh, I don't know, and everything gets like nerve-wracking. But the more I've done it, the more comfortable I am, and I'm getting faster at making videos.
Yes. So you're ahead of us because Frank and I have to learn how to make videos. We do the live streams real good.
So yeah, you guys do the live streams and I do the videos. So it's like I'm much better at videos than live streams, but I think it's all just a learning curve. And like you said, Marv, it's like when you're working all day, it's so hard because you do so much at one time. And I love covering everything, but it's impossible.
It is. It really is. So
there's only so many hours in the day.
I told Frank this weekend, him and I are going to sit down and do some strategizing and look at some videos on how to make videos and all that good stuff. We've got to come up with names for our membership.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm wearing one of my more Christian shirts today. Yeah, I just did a video for Monkey, because I don't know if you guys are following the Monkey Bond. His birthday is tomorrow, and he's been gone for almost a year. So sadly, we still haven't found the little dude. So I'm hoping soon. I'm praying for him. His mama.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
There's too many little ones missing, and it's just breaks your heart. It really does.
It does. It really does.
I try to keep the word out there for him, and I'll have to get with you guys afterwards because I was talking to another channel today, and I got on there for a little bit while I was working. I was being bad. I was talking to him, and they're gonna try to create. Somebody's connected to them. They want to create like a missing person sort of a database that we can all and all the ones who like the ones who are like responsible creators like all of us and like monsters and Grizzly stuff. We can all kind of work together. The ones who don't want to be like we're detectives, because we could joke that say we're at home detectives, because that's what I always say, but I'm not a cop, so I don't go into all that stuff. So it's like we can guess and do stuff, but some of these people just get way out there. So I won't say any names, but I know some of y'all know.
oh yeah, I already know what you're
Absolutely.
talking about.
There's a few I could say right away, but I won't say it just in case they pop in. Just you never know. And
now we're getting accused of stealing content.
Oh
yeah,
that's ridiculous. I think I know GH now. I'm thinking I know who it is. So I think I might know.
You're probably right.
I guess.
Yep.
I'm learning. It's like I've been doing this since like the end of last year. It's like you start to learn about all the creators. You go, in your area.
Yes.
And eventually you figure them out. And I'm like, I'm sure I'll be talked about one day.
Yeah.
They'll go, that girl, we don't like her. I'm like, whatever.
You know you've made it when you get talked about and you get trolled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's just how it's going to be. I think that's part of the reason I don't want to stream, because they're probably going to come. It's like already,
I tell them to bring it.
I'm not here trying to help out. I said I like to do stuff that's like Delphi and stuff that's like we're trying to help out. We're trying to keep the law enforcement on it. And then the missing kids. I said those are the kind of stuff a lot of us are interested in. I'm not trying to go out there and investigate it like a detective. That's not my job. But I mean, I'm super curious because that's how I am. So,
and that's why we all do this. We're bringing awareness. We're throwing out theories to put pressure on everyone in law enforcement, anybody that may have had anything to do with this.
Absolutely.
It's all to keep the pressure on so that we can get this solved.
And then these two cases, it's like, it's insane to me. It's like how long they've been open. Why? Of course, I got my theories. I know Frank does. He told me a little bit about that one day. So I'm like, yeah. And I said, we can totally speculate and guess and say allegedly, but anybody that thinks you're stealing their stuff. There's a channel I've seen that just shares other channels' content, and I won't say it here, but I'm sure if I told you guys in the background, and I could probably tell you in private chat, you probably would know who it was.
Yeah, we're pretty sure we know who it is.
There's one that just shares other people's stuff, and they just talk a little bit about it. I'm like confused. Every time one of them comes out, they've even done it with the interview room stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'd be careful with him. Or Duty Ron, I'm like, I wouldn't mess with those guys.
Right.
They got more money than anybody I know, I'm sure, and resources.
Well, some of these people, we started way when the case got started, but you get some of these people just getting into now, just don't know what we know. I think we're copying their words, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And some of these creators don't even do their own research, and that's basically what the problem is. So they want to go into other people's channels and get ideas.
We won't, Olivia. We won't talk about them. I will never say it. I don't want to get into it with anybody. It's not worth it.
That's why we don't mention creators' names on here.
No. I would only tell it to them in private, the creator to creator in private. Because I see too much drama, and I've walked into some of their lives when they thought they were talking about a topic, and I'm like, oh, Lord, what are they talking about? I'm like, I got to go. And I'm like, they're complaining about somebody else. So I'm like, see ya.
We're getting
hacked.
Shannon, we're getting
Shannon, how long have you been following the Delphi case and the Flora case?
Well, Flora is pretty new. I just started doing that in the like last couple months. Delphi, I started late last year. So, and there's so much to learn that I don't know. And, as soon as I learned about it, I just was like, oh. And then Flora just kind of came in because as soon as you start hearing about Carroll County, and then you start seeing that this one's related, because people start to talk about it. I don't go into Reddit a lot, but Reddit comes up all the time, like cut ties to this and that. And I'm like, I don't read everything on it, so it's like support. I never heard of that one. We'll have to check. Support. That's her. That's hilarious.
No,
I will have to. Hey, you check me out, and I'll check you out. There you go. That's like like when you're kids, you're like, hey, you be my friend, I'll be your friend. That's like the childhood stuff. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm all about supporting all the good folks, and I'm always open to everything. But yeah, we don't get into this stuff. But as far as Carroll County is concerned, I think there's some weird stuff going down there in Carroll County. It's like that's not the only place, because look at the current stuff happening now.
Yeah.
So I mean, look at all this stuff. I mean, we got Uvalde, and that's starting to wonder what's going on down in Uvalde.
Oh,
so I mean, there's a lot of corruption in police, and I'm one of the people that supports them right off the bat. But there's some really bad seeds out there. There really are. So, and it's sad.
Just want to mention that on our Facebook page here, or on our YouTube page here, we have added Shannon to recommended channels. So
I
You
appreciate
want to
that.
find her? There she is. Now, you did do a video on the Flora fires, correct?
Yeah, I've done a couple, 2 or 3 on Delphi, and I did one recently on Flora, and I want to do more. So, but I
Mhm.
want to do more diving into, some more stuff. And I gotten a few comments. Some people are telling me this is part of this, and I'm like, okay, well, give me some information to look at it because I don't want to just, I don't know anything. So,
Have you tried to get a hold of Rose at all?
no, I
Yeah,
need
so
to.
I've,
check
I've
out her video on Flora fires.
I've reached out to her, but I haven't got a response from her because she lives in Sacramento, California now. So
Oh yeah, I would love to talk to her. I don't know if she will talk. So I know she wants it all solved, but I think she had to move away. It was just too painful, and
You know, she
I
she
wonder if she's got a new life, a whole new kind of life now. I don't know.
well, she doesn't really want to talk to the police, and that's the problem.
well,
Right.
I think she filed a lawsuit too, and I think she's ordered to keep quiet also.
Yeah, she might not say much, but some of these guys are coming out. When I've posted some stuff, I've noticed some of the missing people's family. They've contacted me just thanking me for sharing their stuff. So sometimes you do get them reaching out. They'll find your stuff, and I'm telling them
Yeah.
that they don't want to talk live. If I'm just curious if they want to leave, that they would like me to kind of go this direction just to read this or look at that. And I'm like, I would totally like to. I said we just need to keep this bug in their ear because there's just
Right.
no reason this is not solved.
Right. I agree.
I
You know.
seriously believe that there's a major corruption. That's my theory. Make sure I gotta be careful with my wording. I believe there's a big corruptions in Carroll County.
Oh yeah,
There's some crazy stuff going down there,
me and
and
Randy have had extensive conversations over the last 6 months
Mm-hmm.
of all the crazy crap that's going on there.
Oh yeah.
who's Rose? Rose is the mom of the 4 girls, the 4 girls that died in the Flora fires.
Yes, correct.
That's the mama. So I mean, and it was not like they thought it was in the kitchen or electrical, and it was not.
It,
So
it
it was
was.
totally set up, and there's theories that there was somebody that didn't like the landlord or something else. There's a lot of weird theories.
Yeah, there is.
So
Well,
I mean, I guess, go ahead.
we have a source that used to be a resident of Delphi, and they live in the surrounding areas still, but they still have family that lives there. And one of her family members used to work at the Pizza King there in Flora, and this person told us that the family member witnessed Mark Sandifer doing appropriate things to one of the girls from the Flora fire. So
So that just throws us down another rabbit hole of what
Yeah.
happened to these girls.
And another thing I did not mention, and I got some photos, but I didn't yet. Those dolls on that they left out there, that's been mentioned as an oddity, and I'm trying to get more information on that because they also mentioned there was some dolls like it that were left at Delphi. So I'm like,
So
I don't
they're
know if they're
saying that there
related.
was dolls left by the Flora fires?
Yeah, it's like for the girls afterwards, there was a bunch of dolls.
On the steps.
Yes, on the steps,
Yeah.
and they
Good
were
people.
some of them looked kind of creepy.
Well, I guess it's depending on either the family bottom. They thought that might be worth putting them there, or friends of the family.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that somebody has connection to somebody in Carroll County that did this. That's
Yeah.
my
Wow.
that's my guess. I don't know beyond that yet, but that's just from starting to look into it. I'm like super fishy, and it makes you wonder about the Delphi. Same way that somebody knows something and they ain't talking. So it's like there's something going on with Carroll County.
Sally Ann says, Frank, has anyone tried to contact the next door neighbor that made the 911 call?
the next door neighbor, I believe, was one of the firefighters.
Ooh.
The lady who did the interview was behind their four-power house. But I think everyone was pretty much calling 911 anyhow to get the fire
Right.
department to get there, even though that's a volunteer firefighter
Yeah.
department. So it would take them longer to get where they live in that town. It's not like Indianapolis or Lafayette, just show up. But it was
But
just
that home was pretty close to downtown, wasn't it, Randy? They were pretty
it
close.
was right across from the Pizza King, and it was at the intersection. So 2 blocks away, the fire department was at the grocery store part, so they were across, and they're right behind the fire, kind of like the police department. So they could have had somebody drive the truck down there with the hose, but they were all waiting for everybody to show up.
Oh, that's great.
Because I know some people says they saw the mother standing outside, waiting for the fire department to show up, and then until the police came, then she tried to pretend to go in like she was going to help save the girls, but she was out there more than 20 minutes that she could have got the girls out of that apartment. So, and she was downstairs already.
Yeah, because wasn't she downstairs and they were upstairs?
Yeah, they were upstairs and she was downstairs.
That's odd.
And
Why wouldn't she go up? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it even more suspicious when you got all these public officials resigning after everything happened.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like back to back. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I talk about that in my video. I'm like, another one's resigning. Hello.
And then this is when they had tried to get a hold of Indianapolis fire chief to come up and check the property of, was it set on fire purposely or what would show up?
I mean, think about this also. You know, your Josh Ayers is your landlord, and it's awful suspicious to me that he's had several properties burned to the ground there in Flora.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know,
insurance money, maybe?
possibly.
That's what we said. That's what we said. It could be because of insurance money, and this one they didn't get away with it.
Yeah.
He was the mayor of Flora, Indiana, and he worked for counts.
He was a city county council president for Flora. He also owns hardware stores there in Flora.
In Delphi.
And in Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Too many people and with too many hands in the pot.
Exactly.
He had heating and air conditioning company, but that caught on fire. Somebody set that on fire.
Mm.
And I mean, it's even more suspicious that Becky had did an appraisal on that house within a month or two prior to the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started reading about that. I have to look into that more. That's crazy.
So.
But yeah, what is the connection there? And I think it was like, well, how is it connected? I'm like, I don't know, but it's Carroll County. I mean, there's some kind of, if they're not connected directly, they're connected through the fact that they're all Carroll County, and that department, something's going on. It ain't, I mean, they're bungling 2 different huge cases.
Well, and what I'm reading now, it's talking about Flora firefighter John Weaver. We know that name, correct?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
We know that from Delphi.
His name's mentioned in Delphi several times.
Hey, Sleuth, how you doing?
Yo, Sleuth.
And the weird thing about that is we're live on Tuesday. We did a thing about Mark Kurtz for a split second. We did Josh Lank for a minute, and then we got into Pat Brown. Well, we have researchers doing work for us behind the scenes, and one of our researchers, her name is Jess. We sent her information to look into Pat Brown. Well, she dug up all kinds of stuff and put a little package together for us, and I went ahead and played it last night and went through it, or Tuesday night. Well, I didn't get through all the paperwork, right? Well, I started scrolling down and it got into Mark Sandifer. And
Yeah.
then I kept going and going and going, and then it said known associates, Angel Brown. And I said, really? And I said, that's Pat Brown's wife. I said, my God. I mean, you got a known pedophile, and you got somebody that's being talked about the Delphi murders, and then you got his wife that's an associate of a pedophile. So
Yeah, Flora and Delphi are much closer than a lot of people are catching.
right.
And that bench, I mean, that bench is like all those girls' names, 6 of them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I agree.
y'all, I'm like, if you say it's unrelated, I'm like, I don't think so.
I mean, it's quite strange. It's kind of strange when you have this happen in Florida first, and then a few months later, the girls in Delphi.
Not to mention, Karina McKirkland went in October of 2016. Then you had the Florida fire in November of 2016. Then you had the Delphi girls in February 2017.
Yeah. Could the fires cover another crime? I don't know. Do you guys know if they did an autopsy or they have anything to autopsy on the girls? I didn't read anything about that.
The 4 girls had soot.
Smoke inhalation.
Yeah. In their lungs.
But it's possible that they were, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they did a full anything on them because they totally dismissed the fire to begin with. So as a electrical. So
well, I know there was a lot of people who send me messages, comments that they were out there hearing the girls blocks away of screaming in that apartment house, blocks away, and saw the mother standing outside while the girls are inside screaming, calling for their mother.
Weird. That's so weird. Why wouldn't she go back in?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's like she had time.
I hadn't heard that one. That's odd. If I was their mom, I'd go back in.
She had time to go back in. They said there more than 15 minutes that she could have gone back in. And she usually gets up, goes up to her job between 3 and 3:30 to meet somebody up there at her job at the gas station where she worked. And it's kind of strange how this all happened around that time frame.
Yeah.
That goes to work.
Give me just a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I got to respond to this. I got my ass. I didn't get my butt chewed out by Marv or anybody, but I had some people complaining straight from the horse's mouth. So I try to keep it calm while we're live.
Oh, we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about that guy.
And you know what?
He's iffy. Yeah, don't talk about creators because he's known. Trust me, that one is known.
Another weird thing about the Flora thing and the Delphi thing is, the picture that Anthony Schatz had in that car that was on the street at nighttime.
Yes.
The house up in front of the car.
Yeah, it was near. That's crazy.
That was the Flora house fire.
It was.
Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, Boston Christian, for your super chat. Super chat.
Yeah, Flora Angels get a bench. Well, they're with the Delphi girls. So I don't know if you can pull it up to show them. I showed it on my video too. If you guys look it up, because you had it in the first thing. Because the bench has all 4 of the sisters, and then at the bottom it has Abby and Libby.
Yeah,
which is for you guys that haven't seen it. It's definitely.
Was it in that first one?
I think so, because I saw it when you first popped it up. I saw it. Or you could probably just search for the.
I was going to say I'm going to search for it.
This should come up pretty quick. That's one of the few. Okay. Yeah, he actually does some good videos. I will say that, but but he's mixed. But that's about all I'll say.
There's just so many questions about who we're talking about that.
We got to be careful because you don't want to be, we don't want to get into any of that because I'm definitely not into the drama either.
Right.
I mean, and I know even if you don't have a channel, a lot of people that follow all the channels, I've already noticed people are familiar with a lot of the creators. So you start to get familiar and you start to know people are generally speaking of, and you start to see it, and each his own. You know, it's like it reminds me of that PI that was just doing the whole case with rounds. Some people think he's not so bad, and other people are like yelling at
Here
their
we
parents.
go.
Okay. Yeah, that bench has all the girls and Delphi, which is interesting.
Yes,
I found that interesting
I did too.
because it's like they're tied together, but I'm like they're not together. It's like about a 3-month gap. So obviously Flora and Delphi are pretty more connected as we're seeing than we all think.
Well, actually, the people who killed Karina, it's still linked to Delphi and Flora.
Yes.
It's all the same people.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so once you get into a little bit about what you've uncovered and things like that, Shannon.
Yeah, I'm starting to, and I'll have to see what you guys have because I'm starting to, you start to get in there and I haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet. So, I mean, it's like, because I've been going to Delphi and that was new. So I was like, that's why I'm like, this is just a tip. I haven't gotten all the way in. And trust me, I'm sure it goes much deeper. It's like,
Right.
that's why you have to tell them. It's like, I am interested in checking it out, but if it hits a certain point where I feel like it's a little bit too dangerous, I'll back down because I don't want to be like threatened or nothing. So, yeah, that's the house. And
Yeah.
You can't
that's
see
the
it
house. Yeah, you can't see it.
Why?
because you got our pictures in front. There we go.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, they had some news coverage.
Oh, stop.
And see, I've been trying to get a hold of a news anchor here, and I've left messages with him, but he ain't returned my calls, so I can get him to cover the cases.
Oh, I actually emailed Flora and asked for if I can get any records from the fire, and they told me that all that was available was online. And in other words, we ain't giving you nothing. And I've seen that everybody else has been trying to get it. They ain't giving nothing out. Same thing with
Yeah.
Well,
they're like, heck
somebody,
no.
somebody subtract Sergeant Dreadhead, whatever his name is.
Where is it? There he is. Time him out. Got him.
Cool.
Yeah, see, that's what we've been doing. We've been filing FOIA forms. And
Yeah,
one
I
of
just
them-
started, and they said immediately, well, everything that's on the website is not allowed to be released per this or that or the other thing. And I'm like, oh.
I bet you if I got a hold of the Department of Justice and tell them they're violating the law, they'll turn that shit over.
DGR Dave, thank you for the super sticker. Yeah.
It's like I called the Carroll County 911 dispatch office, right, which is inside the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and left a message with the records department because I'm trying to get the 911 calls or the
That's been a
911.
fight. That's been a fight to get that.
And
Yeah.
I left messages for 3 days in a row. Guess who in the hell called me back? Toad.
No.
Toad.
Oh,
Yeah. And I told him, I said, man, I'm trying to get these 911 calls for the floor. He said, well, we don't handle that here. You have to go through the city commissioner to get all that information. So I got a phone number for a girl that I need to call and see where I need to send the FOIA form to get those records if they'll give them to her.
they're like to definitely we could all cover it big or bigger than that. That'd be amazing.
Thank you, Stories from the Stone. He says he's got a pic of the bench with the floor firehouse in the
Oh
background
wow.
on his group cover page, and we can use it if we want.
Cool.
Appreciated. Yeah, I always post up, but I want to make, I only use media regular stuff otherwise, because if they were to get me, I put that copyright now on there. It probably won't do much, but I figure I never said it was mine. It's like, I mean, I'm not out there. But the media has been trying to get those 911 calls. They've been trying and they've been fighting. And I think that they did it twice and it was denied. So it's super suspicious because why are they not giving it up?
And it's
I know
the
that-
prosecutor who's denying it. It's Nick.
We're gonna go.
Nick.
We're gonna go to the Attorney General and make them give
Do
it
it.
to us. Frank, Susie Q says, I wish Frank could finish telling us his information.
Okay, go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
Didn't you tell it all?
No, I was talking about Tobe Lesenby when he called, and he says,
Oh.
Shane Crusade. And I said, yes, it is. Who am I speaking to? He said, this is Sheriff Tobe Lesenby. And I about shit my drawers. And I was like, why in the hell are you calling me?
Dude.
Yeah, Frank called me that night too. He said, guess what? What?
I was shocked
Right.
when he called me. I was
Yeah,
like,
I bet.
wow.
Hey, Randy, were you aware that there was another fire in Florida that took the lives of 2 other children and their stepmother? Yes, actually,
No.
I know who he's talking about.
Who was that?
If I go back to the Marv and Frank Facebook group, I put out a post that asked for all of the missing individuals or unsolved murder cases from Indiana.
Okay.
And I gotta find it here. Because it was a little bit ago. And I put the names on there.
We should totally just be like, anybody know any in Carroll County? How many are unsolved in Carroll County?
Well,
There's tons of it, and nobody knows about it.
Well, I could tell you about the homicides in Carroll County since 2016. There's been 21, and only 5 have been solved since 2016.
And they're such a small county.
Well, I mean, you still got outside sources that you can use, but it sounds like they just don't want to spend the money for that kind of stuff. I mean,
they don't want to use ISP.
They don't want nobody interfering from the outside.
They are old school. Keep your secrets locked up.
Yeah, me and Randy had for months. Me and him talked about that. You got the old school, like the McCains. The McCain family and the Baum family basically ran Delphi in the late 1800s. Okay, they don't want outsiders coming in and trying to take over shit.
That's insane.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be intriguing though to find out how many though. I'm sure they don't want anybody to know.
Oh, sorry about that. Their names were Amy Parrish, who was 25 years old, Casey 11, Dakota 4, and Caleb 2.
Wow.
And when were the fires? When were the fires?
I heard of that one. That's in Kokomo.
Yeah, that's in Kokomo.
Because Kokomo's Carroll County. So
Carroll County, but I gotta look for the I have to look for the 2 in Flora that Brett's talking about.
You're talking about the state trooper who died in the fire with her kids.
No, that's in a different county.
Or is that in Lafayette or
Monticello?
Monticello, okay.
Yeah, where I'm at, in my county.
Here we go. 2009 fire killed 2 children and the mother in 2009. Dr. Brian Wagner.
Wow. And they still don't know who did it.
That one I do know about. Yes, that one I do.
It was arson? And that was arson? Old arson?
Dr. Wagner was a dentist in that town.
Up to the property. Yeah, I'm seeing people talk about that. I was researching a smoke detector thing, and then I got called out on one of the things because I didn't know all the stuff yet. And I said, I haven't gone all the way in that. They apparently did not have a working smoke detector.
Well, one apartment did, and the other one, they say they didn't, but you wonder did somebody take the batteries out, and how come the other apartment had the smoking detector working? That's suspicious to me.
Yeah. And then they said that like months later they were doing a whole drive, but then they were not providing smoke detectors for rentals. I'm like, okay. So it's up to, I guess, whoever owns the property to supply the working smoke detectors.
Yes.
They got to be up to code, and I don't know how they're being rented and if they're not up to code.
And they were not up to code at all.
No.
Susie Q says killed the doctor's family across from Flora fires.
But
So I wonder who owned his house.
oh boy, I'm assuming he owned it if he's a doctor.
Okay.
I'm going to answer this real quick. Support with Steffa. Yes, this weekend, Frank and I are going to work on that and set it up for membership.
All right, Purdue RN wants to talk a little Delphi, guys.
Let's talk some Delphi.
Frank, he's back again.
It's all right.
Who is it?
It's Sergeant Deadhead. If he gets out of line, I'll put him out for the rest of the night.
So yeah, again, Abby, happy birthday to her in heaven. And I know she and Libby are up there just really hoping that we could, we get this figured out, because Libby did everything she could to try to help us out. And it seems like it's just, I mean, how could you imagine you have this proof of what was going on and we still don't?
See, it's going to take all of us creators, everybody in the chat, whatever it has to be doing to put pressure on LE to either release a little bit more information, a little bit more audio, video, or something.
Yeah, and everybody, I want you to realize that yes, we know that today is Abby's birthday. We have Shannon on here as a guest. Her two cases that she's been looking into is Flora fires and Delphi. So we're talking about both cases today.
Kind of overflow of it.
We will get to the Delphi murders, we promise. But in the description, it did say Flora fires and the Delphi murders. So please be patient.
I saw Paul Holes. He has a picture of himself he posted like a week ago. He was on the Monhan High Bridge. I'm like, oh boy. He didn't say much. He just posted it.
He was here a couple of days with HLN, so.
Yeah, because you live out there, right, Randy? Yeah, you live.
Yep.
Yeah, because the family was talking to him, I think, at the crime club. So I'm super interested to see what he finds out. He's probably having a lot of trouble finding anything out because they don't want to talk to nobody.
But people are talking.
He just needs to talk to the right one.
Me and Marv have been talking to a couple people that have been residents there, and they still have a bunch of ties there. And from what they're telling us, people are talking. They're getting fed up with all this crap. And one of the people that we talked to, I told you that used to live in Delphi, but still lives in the surrounding area. They informed us that it was a possibility that the girls from the Flora Fire's mother owed big time drug money.
Ooh.
Yep.
So.
Wow.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
No, I saw that come up. I saw Holes, and I was like, oh boy. Now we're getting somewhere, man. Because I'm listening to his book right now. So good. That's a smart dude.
So exactly who is he? Because I don't know.
He's a criminologist.
He's the one that solved the Golden State killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a current book out, and I'm like I said, I'm listening to it because I got it with audio time stuff. So I listen to audio in the car when I drive and stuff.
He took it upon himself to do the familiar DNA that they had from all the crimes back then, and that's where they caught him at, was the old cop. So
he's an amazing, what he does. He just, but he lived what he did. He just totally lived it. He talks about his family life, and that's like what happens. He lived his job. But you know what? He's an amazing, investigator. Amazing. And I'm amazed at, what he's finding out. And I'm not even completely done with it yet.
And see, I don't honestly think there is any DNA for them to compare with anybody here.
That's what I wonder.
Because of so many people being out at the crime scene, it's just contaminated with so much different people's DNA. You don't know who's who, what's what, So it's basically DNA is not going to solve this case. I honestly believe that.
Well, especially if they brought in the dogs, they wouldn't know which one would be to follow on the set.
Right.
23 and me.
Mhm. I'm sure
I don't-
they hate all the genealogy sites.
Well, and that whole releasing of the murder sheet, which I still don't getting a hold of everything. I know Frank's thinkings on that, but and everyone kept saying, oh, it's like Ron Logan. I'm like, the point of them getting that out there is nothing to do with Ron Logan. It has to do with what they were saying. It's like people weren't reading past it.
Yeah.
I don't want pictures of the bodies. I want pictures of some of if there's anything near them or something. And
You mean
we're never
Right.
like
Maybe.
whatever's
something they
like there.
staged or any type of, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, they can blur out, like the bodies, but we're never going to see that. Heck, we don't even have all 43 or 53 that keep going back and forth on 43 or 53 seconds of video, and they're saying, "Oh, it's just the girls talking," and we're suspecting that the guy he clocked the gun, and that's why there's an edit. That's also been talked about. So before he said, "Guys down the hill," so
That document that HLN had specifically said it's 43 seconds. It has BG walking towards them, and and in there it said that at the end he said, "Guys, down the hill."
yeah, there's more video that we could be looking at, given it. And then you notice the quality really sucks. And there's been Chris was saying he was saying that his thinking is he started learning that with video, that they got it off the cloud and maybe it wasn't downloaded at higher quality, or LE purposely made it like more made it like less quality looking,
Well, one
because
of her,
iPhones would have been better than that.
yeah, iPhone, you would think, yeah, because they're always praising iPhones are better than any other out there. But, I guess what I heard, I think you heard Frank the same thing. Someone was watching Libby's feed on Snapchat, and they said they did see the person, I guess, following them from her Snapchat.
All I
See,
know,
and
I mean, I'm going to keep talking about this until I'm blue in the face. And I mean, I understand people don't want to hear it, but there's just a connection between that 209 call or text that Ron Logan made that day, 2 minutes after Abby's photo was uploaded to Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's just too close in proximity of time for there not to be a connection with that.
Mhm.
I think he knew something. He knew something.
Yeah, see, that's what we think too. We believe he knew something after the fact.
I don't think he had anything to do with it, but he had knowledge,
Yeah.
and he was threatened if he said a word.
Well, especially if they try to get him away from the area,
Yeah.
to frame him on his own property.
I mean, he wasn't a good dude to begin with, but I mean, I don't believe at all that he was BG or anything. But
Right.
he had quite the track record of being kind of a DD, that. So, but I don't think he did anything with the girls at all. Maybe
Okay,
yelled at
so
them in the past.
Yeah, straight from the horse's mouth. How come Brad Heath is never mentioned? He's the only publicly stated witness that I know of. Yet everyone would rather focus on speculative people. Has anybody heard for sure that he is a witness?
They did interview him. He was down toward the old CPS building at the time, from my understanding. He was doing his work out there, the mole control. So I don't know if he would be a witness or not, because, I mean, once again, we're going to go back to the Meg Ryan or the Megyn Kelly show with the family and Doug Carter. Doug Carter made it very perfectly clear. No one saw BG after the fact. Now, what does that mean? I mean, come on. You have a sketch of him 2 years or prior to that, but now you're saying no one ever saw BG after the fact the girls were murdered? How do you know that?
Yeah. That's what we were saying, Jumpin' Jack Flash, about Libby's photos. That's why I think that either because I have had where people with iPhones now have like sent me, and they've not put the quality higher, and I'll get it like more pixelated looking like that, clear. Or somebody got off the cloud and it wasn't uploaded at higher quality. They didn't get it directly from the phone, or the law enforcement purposely made it that way. That's what I'm wondering. I think that the actual video is clearer. The main video. Oh, they did. Okay.
Yep, I didn't know that either.
There's too much going on, man. I've been following so many. And we had everything going on, man. I've been following 10 cases. I know Marv does.
All right, we need to answer this.
This one?
Sleuth Intuition?
Yeah, that's sleuth. He's talking about the search warrant where the FBI agent said that there was no any type of struggle, and I'm thinking, how's that possible?
No, that
The sleuth asking the same thing. How's that possible?
that was contradictory to what they said before that.
Yeah.
That was a very bad statement.
I do not believe that for one moment.
I don't either.
Randy, do you believe that the girls did not struggle?
Oh no, not really. Whatever he did to them, they pretty much round steam. If he beat him up, I would assume, especially going after Libby, after what she's been beaten up to. Yeah, I think the girls just ran on steam, and
I mean, they even admitted there was. I mean, Judge Carter said in a lot of his pressers and a lot of his personal interviews, he kept using the word "they." So we know for a fact there was more than one person. If BG was just a ruse to get him down the hill to somebody else, and then they were trying to control the girls, and somebody else had to step in. You know, we just don't know unless they give us more information.
Yeah, that creek has definitely been as talked about. They ran across the creek. That's something that I think is probably possible.
It's also possible that there was more than one, and they were drug across that creek.
Right.
Well, it'd be hard to drug across that creek because the creek was high, very high that day.
Steve wants you. Well, no, he can call you tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Steve. You can call me tomorrow. So it'd be hard to drag them across that creek because the water was up high. You can look at
they could have still had a hold of them though, and walked them across the creek.
Yeah. That the boyfriend and the girlfriend, that's still suspicious to me. The one that we're saying they were hiding, and you know that timeline has been like back and they saw, and then flannel shirt guy, and a lot of it you have to start trying to keep it together, and it gets a little bit confusing because you're trying to figure out what came from what, and you know, yeah, the younger sketch was the first sketch. You just held it for some reason. We still don't know why. So I mean, why would they hold it? So I think it's like that's why they always said that was primary and the other one was secondary. But if you look at Bridge Guy, he doesn't look like that young sketch at all. Although he could be having padding on, we don't know. Those could be just some big clothes. But I do think it's possible there's more than one. I think BG was one, and there's another one. So, who is Bridge Guy? We don't know if he's from Delphi. Doug Carter thinks he is.
And I'd say Water and Lungs, they were resisting.
Yeah.
I believe they both fought hard. I really do.
And like, if they're running across the water and it fell in, yes, they.
Yeah, that's true too.
They tried to get away, but when it got to Ron Logan's property, the bank, you would have a hard problem getting on top of the bank because the bank was high and muddy. Once you get out of that water, the bank turns into muddy. Even especially you, Jennifer, you had muddy shoes.
Oh God, yeah. I had muddy shoes, muddy pants. You name it. It was mud.
Killer would have had that on his clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you hear there was
Um,
some story about somebody spotting somebody coming off the road too? And I was like, I'm trying to remember where I saw it, where there was somebody coming off the road, and then they approached their car asking, get use their phone or something. They were stuck.
That was
Waiting.
a friend of mine who was trying to help. There was a car pull over off of the new highway, State Road 25, Hoosier Hartway, and they had car problems. But my friend said she asked, "Does you need to use the phone?" And he says, "No, somebody was coming to help him." So that's a true story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she got real chills off that person.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. And how many creepy people would be hanging out over there at the same time?
right. Red rum, that's what we're trying to figure out is who is they.
Right? Who is they? Right. I know Doug
Yeah.
is so Doug Carter frustrates me to no end.
Oh, yes.
Every time he comes on, I'm like, and he looks like he's frustrated with us, and I'm like, dude, we're frustrated with you. And I'm sure the family's even more frustrated.
I agree.
I know Abby's mom and him do not get along though. She said that.
Yeah, Abby's mom just get along with anybody.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
No, you don't.
she's got the dude. She's like, I don't care, right?
Let's see here. Yvonne, all we know about the hitchhiker story is what? That I haven't heard a hitchhiker story. All I've
No,
heard
there was
is
no hitchhiker that day.
right. All it was the young guy by the car said he was waiting for his dad. That's it.
The one that Randy was just. That's the one that I heard. So that is true.
Sarge, what is your question? And Red Rum 33. Well, if you know who it is, tip them in and get the reward and let's finish
Listen,
this.
come on now. Red Rum, if you know who it is, you need to be calling the tip line.
Matter of fact, let's do this right now. There's the tip line, Red Rum.
Yep.
Trust me, you would make the family so happy if you're legitimately saying that that's true.
Straight from the horse's mouth says, my point is to reopen the possibility that GE and DG are linked materially without jumping to... They are. We know they are.
We already know they are. All right, let's see what Sleuth's got to say. I like looking at his stuff.
Yeah, but we're missing things because, okay, no signs of a fight or struggle. In my opinion, they all crossed the creek together. Abby, Libby, and the killer or killers most likely didn't get wet at all.
Well, they did
ATV
get
trails up and down the area, then convinced to bind hands.
Abby was the innocent person, but they fought Libby. So the FBI who wrote that warrant lied. There were bruises on Libby, much more than Abby was, and the clothes were wet.
Brett,
Okay.
I'm looking back. What was your question? Because I'm back at the middle here and I'm still not seeing anything. Chat is
Here's a clue
flying
for you
past.
guys. Work out who the girls are and who were at the bridge. Okay? Look at their relatives. Okay.
Brett, we can't get to all your questions at one time, but you're going to have to just be patient with us, man, because we got 180 something people in the chat right now. We can't see all of them at once, bud. Not try to be rude or anything. Just give us have some patience, buddy.
I wonder if one of the girls tried to leave and then she fell, and that's mentioned too. And the other one wouldn't
Yeah.
leave. Because I could tell you they would not leave each other. I do believe that that's true.
Deborah, there is no information that Libby had DNA under her fingernails.
Well,
It's all been
actually-
assumptions.
Actually, Carrie said she had some DNA on her fingers
When did Carrie say that?
when we were talking to her in Lafayette event for Anthony, me, and Joe.
Oh, at the March for Justice?
Yeah, and we were all talking. She said under Libby's fingernails there would be DNA. If she scratched the killer, the DNA.
If she scratched the killer, Libby would have.
She had mud underneath her fingernail. So Carrie said that she protect the DNA underneath her fingernails. And the coroner said the same thing about DNA on her fingernails in his report.
Because they would bag up their hands. But
We haven't seen the coroner's report.
Yeah. Well, Carrie said there was DNA under her fingernails because she saw the fingernails with mud and dirt trying to protect whatever on her fingernails.
But see, they don't know whose DNA it is.
Yeah.
If there was enough to test, because like I said, you got to be able to have 9 markers to compare to somebody else's DNA. So if that DNA they got on her fingernails couldn't produce 9 markers in it, they're not going to be able to compare it to nobody. It takes 9 markers.
So we talked about a lot of stuff at that day.
Gotcha. True Crime Web says Carter has convinced me throughout the video, throughout sketches. I'm going old school from here on out.
okay, but if you throw those out, what do you do?
I mean, my opinion on the video and the picture itself, it was altered. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I think that they made the quality bad. I think that they actually have the high quality version, and not only did they edit it, which we already know they did because they told us that part, but I think they also made it look like crap. So that's not helpful at all. They made the quality like much worse than it was.
I mean, think about it. It took them 2 years to release the video. 2 years. So that tells you right there, it shouldn't have taken them 2 years to release the video. So that tells me that they did something with that video in between those 2 years. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Finish my sentence. What's that, Susie Q?
I like her. She's concerned about Frank. It's cute. I would love to see more evidence. I really would, but we're just not getting it.
Yeah, I believe both the audio and the video was altered. I mean, that's just from my experience because I went to radio broadcasting school and we learned how to edit tapes and all that crap. And when I first heard the first audio they released in 2017, and then they come back out in 2019 with the guy down the hill, I was like, hold on here. That's a completely different sound than it was before. I know you can clean up stuff, but there was a 3-second delay in between guys and then down the hill. So
Yeah, it does have 2 different voices to it.
Yeah. So that told me right there was some auditing going on if you got a 3-second delay.
Sally Ann, yes, they can exaggerate things and lie in a search warrant to get the warrant.
They do the same thing when they interview suspects. They lie to them all the time.
Right.
They're allowed to.
And our retired detective Steve did confirm that.
Meg Ryan. I don't have a crush on Meg Ryan, Longshanks. My girlfriend's in here as a moderator. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's fun.
I haven't seen her in a minute, so she's probably laying down because there she is, way up there. She had surgery a couple days ago.
Hey, Maria, thanks for subscribing and joining us.
Hello, Maria.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I honestly do believe they pretty much know who Bridge Guy is. They're looking for the killers, and they're rounding. We've all basically have acknowledged it. There's a handful of people that's involved in this case, and we've all discussed it, and we believe what's going on is they're rounding them up all at one time is what's happening here.
Yeah, I believe that too. That makes sense.
There's Sleuth had another one.
Hang on, I'm getting to him.
Oh, you're controlling it on your end now.
Why doesn't DG do interviews or try to get the word out there like the rest of the family? Because he would be condemned for anything and everything he says.
And if you understand what condemn means, people, it ain't just being pushed out the family. That's not what we're talking about.
Sleuth says if there was one attacker, if he was dragging Libby across the creek, Abby may have followed while fighting BG. Once they crossed, a quick attack on Abby to back her off, then continues with Abby. Anything's possible at this point.
I haven't seen Meg Ryan in a while.
I don't think she makes movies anymore.
I don't think she's doing movies.
No, she hasn't done movies in
I
years.
think they meant to say Meg Kelly. I think that's what they meant to say.
Oh.
Ronnie says, could they have done that to trip up the actual BG when they pretty much know who it is, but not enough evidence? Or was it blurred because that's really not who we're looking for? Good question.
Either or, maybe.
Now, if they show us the full video of Libby, we might be able to see his real face.
Now, I will say this. We've been in contact with somebody that knows Miss Kay Weaver Sanders. And this person's had extensive conversations with her. And this person told us that Kay had told her when they were in Arizona on the 13th, and they were notified of what happened. The FBI there in Arizona went to their hotel, and they separated the husband and the wife. Of course, it's what they do during interviews. And they pulled a picture out of BG and showed it to Kay Weaver, and asked her if she knew who it was. And Kay Weaver, this is what was told to us. It's not verifiable. That she said, "Of course, I don't know who that is. Half his face is covered from the nose down." So
Who's purposely wearing all that stuff to disguise him?
So, John, Frank, in previous lives, you mentioned all the information you have coming in, but you have to sort through it. Can you share why you have not mentioned it again?
Because
we're not done sorting through it and verifying it.
And plus, we are not releasing anything that we know until we get the word that they want us to.
Yes, there are some things
right
we've been told not to say anything about yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
the guy that owned the land, Brandy? Oh, you're getting
Yeah.
Yes, the Weaver SD asking about the Weaver property. Yes, that's who we're talking
we
about.
get across on the other side, the south side. They own all that.
I think they rolled him out. So.
Well, he was just on the news the other night again.
Maybe not.
For holding those two girls hostages.
That's right. Oh my Lord. I bet you Ron Logan, if he was still around, he would have done it too. They don't want anybody on their property.
Yeah. Corgi, we think Libby was the target because of the amount of injuries
she had
compared to Abby.
Yeah. If Abby wasn't there, then they would know who they went after, really. but being like, now we know they went after Libby. Abby less than Libby.
Abby was just more or less collateral damage,
Yeah.
basically, is how that worked out.
Yeah.
Yes, SD. Weaver was pulling into the drive about approximately 3 o'clock that day. He was detained. They took his weapon from him. They took him in. They questioned him and all the whole works.
Weber.
See, now, is it Weaver or Weber? Because the way
It's
I spell
Weber.
Weber is
Weber.
W-E-B-B-E-R is Weber.
Yeah, W-E-E-R, Weber. Brad Weber.
Anthony Schatz was speaking to Libby. That's why he targeted her.
While her girl, Libby's friend, who I believe she framed her to get her out there.
Mm-hmm.
Her girlfriend talked to Anthony Schatz and set Libby up to go out there.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the girlfriend. So they could have sold the information to Anthony Schatz profile to where anybody could have used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just drop it in the drop box. That's all they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's creepy too because they weren't planning on going out there. Because I didn't until Libby's grandma spoke it up recently. I was like, that's something I never knew. She said that they were hanging around the house, and all of a sudden we go out to the trails and the bridge. I'm like, all of a sudden it just never came up.
Well, she always, Kelsey always said that whole entire week was asking Kelsey to take her out to that bridge that next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept on saying no.
That's actually very possible. Libby had an ex-boyfriend, and their father, Frank, is a not so good man, right?
You're talking about BS?
Yeah.
His dad?
Yeah. Not a good guy at all.
No.
No.
And neither is Abby's boyfriend's dad either.
Right.
He wasn't a swell guy at all either. So
who's the friend who got into a fight with Libby over Anthony Schatz?
it's either going to be KB or AJP. AJP. We're not going to give names. If you guys want to know, you can go to the Reddit, and it gives all the names and their initials for everybody's names that's been brought up in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And just for you to know, we have heard that Libby's ex was not happy that she was communicating with Anthony Schatz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He knew about it.
Yeah. Yes, we've heard that by Charlie. Somebody had brought it to our attention that she questioned Brad. Did you do something to these girls? That's all we heard about that. So,
Melissa, Carrie Timmons moved to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Randy, do you know if any of the other Germans moved to Kentucky?
No, it was just her to get away from the family.
Just Libby's mom.
Yeah. I mean, she already had a second family down there. That's where her mom lives down in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So.
In the book Promise Not to Tell, has one of the girls' friend as partially responsible for the murder. Yes? Question mark? Don't know how to answer that. How old are these girls from the slumber party? Are they adults yet? Would love to hear
18, 19.
who chatted with Shot's account and was like, oh, wow. You got to
No.
realize that a lot of these people that were teenagers
Yes.
when this happened will not speak about what they know out of fear.
You got to remember the KB girl was like a little sister to Keegan Klein, per se, because he was able to go to their house anytime he wanted. He could just walk in, stay the night when he wanted, and things like that. And Sleuth has brought up a good point that Libby's friend could have framed Keegan.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's
Not
why
Kelsey.
huh?
Somebody saying not Kelsey. No.
No, not Kelsey.
What is this about a rumored arrest TK, but for the CP, not the murders? Just a thought. Has
See,
anybody?
we got information on that from one of our sources that TK is going to be charged and arrested for the same thing that Keegan's been charged with. Just don't know
Be
when.
surprised.
Just doesn't know when it's going to happen yet.
That doesn't surprise me at all. We all know his past from what we've heard, and I think he deserves to be in jail anyway. So.
Brandy says, why didn't law enforcement pursue the landowner more back then? His alibi was false, voice was consistent, and it's his land.
RL?
They pursued it and couldn't prove it.
First of all, let's make a correction there. His voice was not inconsistent with BG. Not consistent. It was not inconsistent, which means it could be or it could not be. They can't defy it.
SD, nobody has the answer to this. Everybody keeps asking. We do not know where Abby's father is. We don't know who he is, unless Randy knows.
What?
Abby's father.
Abby's father. Has he ever been in the picture?
Abby's father's been disappeared off the face of the earth. Everybody says that he's never around, or Anna doesn't want him around, and Anna didn't want Abby to know about her dad. And that's kind of weird. You would have thought you want Abby to know about her dad, but whatever the reason is, no, I don't think she ever knew about her dad.
Melissa, Carrie Timmons, who is the mother of Libby and Kelsey, moved to Kentucky.
Right. Because they broke up. Derek and them broke up. So that's where they kind of like didn't like Carrie anymore. So that's why Carrie left Kentucky to live with her mom down in Kentucky. And that's where she got a whole new family started down there. Libby's new two stepsisters down there.
Tony, your comment says source, ? Not sure what you're asking. Don't know if Libby's ex was at the trails that day.
I'll have to look. Matter of fact, let me look right now.
Frank, can you give the initials of Libby's ex?
BS. B is in boy, and B is in whatever you want to use. Shit. Shot.
Sucker.
Yeah. I mean, we did a layover of the ex-boyfriend with one of the pictures that Steve had cleaned up from BG. It laid perfectly. We did a layover of him, and it fit perfect. was like, oh my God.
There were supposed to be a lot of people at the trails when the crime happened, yet we never heard anyone saw them there that day. I think there are a lot of witnesses remaining silent. Yes, you are right.
Mm-hmm. Between Libby's photo and Cheyenne's photo, you cannot tell me there were a lot of people there because there's none in the photo.
But basically, I've got it down to where it's either drugs, sex trafficking, or the CP ring. One of the three is the main cause of this whole thing, and a lot of us are leaning toward the drugs or possibly the sex trafficking.
Straight from the horse's mouth. We've heard otherwise. Derek didn't know how long it was going to take him.
Right.
Correct.
It was
Yes.
an approximate time, right? Yeah.
Right. It was approximately. No one said they had 2 hours before
Because
pickup time.
Yeah, Derek had things to do in Frankfort, Indiana for Becky, and nobody knew what time Derek would have been done.
No one knew. Only the girls would know is when Derek was on his way and he called them.
Right. Not saying that RL did the murders, but he had a whole month to bury evidence.
That's true.
That's true, but I don't think he did it. My opinion is he knew something though.
Yeah, that's the way that we're leaning too.
I don't think he did it. Unfortunately, he knew something. How could he not?
Yeah. He never wants to leave his house. That's the problem. He's always worried about his land. He doesn't want nobody on his land when he was alive. So.
Yeah, I remember that sleuth here.
What was the name? What was Anna's boyfriend's name? I don't know.
I don't think Anna had a boyfriend.
I was going to say.
Well, I can tell you who her boyfriend was after the fact. We all know that.
Marv, if Carrie Timmons is Libby's mom, who is Tara? Tara is Libby's aunt.
Yeah, Becky's daughter. What Abby's father is suspected to be Anna's ex-husband from Wyoming.
We don't know.
No, we don't even know.
He's ex the son of the guy accused of molesting the Flora girls?
No. It's his uncle. BS's uncle is the one that is in jail right now for CM.
Brandy Bear, that's like one of the $1 million questions. We want to know that exact same thing. Definitely does not make any sense. And yes, it makes it harder to ID someone. They keep telling us there's a reason for it, but they won't tell us why.
Let me get to this question or this statement by Sue real quick.
Hang on, Longshanks. Thank you so much for the super sticker.
Much appreciated, Longshanks. All right. I know 2 witnesses stated other people were out there. Kelsey and Libby Sprint questioned by reporters. I do recall that interview with the 2 girls at the trails. But how do we know they were at the trails? That's the question. Were they at the Freedom parking lot? Were they at the Freedom Bridge at the seating area? We just don't know that. Well, we know Cheyenne and Cheryl were at the bridge at approximately 2:49 that day.
But it doesn't show anybody else.
Right.
On the trail.
Right.
Or on the bridge.
Right.
Digital, where did you get that? Because we haven't heard anything about where Abby's father lives.
I've never heard either.
Her grandfather lives there in Delphi. That's who Anna lived with, right?
Well, her real grandfather lives in Michigan.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the sketches again, like she's back up. That drives us crazy. And every time Doug Carter tells us, "Oh, we're getting closer," he done drive me crazy. I want to smack him upside the face through the computer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been saying the same thing since the first presser in 2018, where we need one piece. They've been saying that for 4 freaking years.
As soon as you get into this case, you start to immediately after like not very long, you start to go, "Oh, Doug Carter,"
Right.
Yeah.
and it's like,
One. Yeah. One L. Michelle, do you think there was a gag order imposed on the people that might have some knowledge of events leading to the crime?
Yes, I believe. I've heard there was
Yeah.
a gag order in place.
There may have been, there may not have been.
maybe unofficial gag order, like silence.
Right.
They don't want to talk.
Well, I think I put something thing on certain gag orders for certain people. So I think there's gag orders on certain people, but they kind of like make up lies to let people hear what they want to hear.
Yes, that's correct, SD.
Absolutely.
We know that for a fact. We know that's going on.
Delphi had drugs for years, so yeah, it's been around Delphi for years.
Was Libby's ex the son of the guy accused of molesting Flora girls?
No, that's his uncle. Her ex is the guy you're talking about is Mark Sandifer. His brother's son is the ex of Libby. Hey, who's your girl? Nice to see you. She said yes, gag order was put in place after the Erskine texts were released.
Yeah. I don't know. I think what bothered DG was the fact that that Libby was not answering her phone. She always answered that phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what made him panic, especially when he got out of the car and went and started to look and couldn't find him.
And related to that phone, when she had to factory reset it not long before everything happened, that was super
Yeah, Friday they reset her phone on Friday before Monday.
I've never factory reset a phone.
That tells me that something was on that phone from somebody, and they caused that phone to tell them.
We know she was talking to Anthony Schatz for probably 3 months.
Yeah,
Frank.
December.
3 months or more.
Yeah, since at least December 2016, we know that.
Right.
But my question is, I got two daughters of my own. They're grown now, and I know how they are. But they didn't have cell phones back then when my daughters were growing up. But you're not going to tell me when the girls were on their way to the bridge, they were not on the phone talking to somebody. That's just human nature for a teenage girl. They're constantly on that phone. So was she on the phone with somebody on the way to the trails? Is Ellie ever going to tell us that? Because that might be a clue right there.
Well, every single photo I see with Libby's phone in her hand, she's always have it out in front of her all the time.
Right.
Texting.
Just like a normal teenager would. And see, this is one of the problems I have is with the Kelsey statement. How did she know there was at least 10 to 20 kids out there? She didn't even get out of the car.
So I wanna tell you what I've read and heard about this. Randy, you can tell me if this is correct or not.
Okay.
I was told that Kelsey did a video explaining this, and that later, shortly after she did it, and some people saw it, it was taken down. But I was told that she was going by the fact Not that she saw people there, that she was going by the messages from, you know how the kids get in these group chats and they talk to one another?
Yeah.
These kids were saying, we're going to the trail, we're going to the trail, we're going to the trail. So 10 to 20 of them kept saying that morning they were going to the trail. And that's why she said that. Not the fact that she actually saw anybody there.
Well, the question is, what time those kids go? When they got
Right.
there was nobody there in Libby's photo.
And
they would have
that's
been
what
all on the bridge. If that was true, they would have been all on that bridge surrounding Libby and Abby.
I mean,
that's why I'm thinking that the chat message was true, but they had been there earlier that day,
Yeah.
and they were all gone already by the
they
time
got there.
Abby and Libby got there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one of these people in the chat groups is the one who set Libby up.
But when Becky got there, they said there were people there when she arrived. So those are for the search, and that's two different times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think those people were there early that morning, but being Kelsey was getting ready to go see her ex-boyfriend at that time, and it was already too late. Those people would have been gone by the time they got there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still really bothers me. I mean, people still seem to think that BG came back through the trails, and I just don't see that happening.
No, he didn't. He would not come back through the trails.
I mean, any
But
kind
Muddy-
of person, you might be the dumbest criminal in the world, but you're smart enough not to go back through a trail covered in blood or whatever.
Yeah, blood, muddy shoes, and pants and everything. No,
without being seen. And that's why I keep insisting that Wilson's Bridge is my point of extraction. That's what we call in the military extraction, getting the hell out of Dodge at a location. You got to meet at a location to get out of there. That's the extraction point.
See-Through says the only reliable witness is the young girl who described BG before anything released. I would agree.
And she's the one who's responsible for the old BG photo, isn't she?
No, as far as I know, she was responsible for the young BG photo. That was the first one created. But they never released it.
But didn't they say that when they interviewed her, when she saw BG around the Freedom Bridge area, that she said hi and he gave her a mean look?
Yep.
Was that before or after the fact? Is the question. You see what I'm saying? Was this before the killing took place, or was this after the fact that she saw him?
This was before the killing took place.
Here you go, John Moore. That's right. All about extraction.
No, RN, no. I never heard that.
Yes, I truly think people are not going to talk.
They seem very quiet out there.
I've talked to a few people who have relatives involved in this. Their relatives will not even talk to them and tell them what happened that day.
Yeah.
Nothing, when it comes to those kids that were around that age, they aren't talking to anyone except for the group of friends that knows what happened.
And we were also told that there's a prominent family in Delphi. They've got a lot of power in the city of Delphi. And they described the family as like the mob. I think the reward set at like 350,000 or something like that, Randy.
325,000. 325,000.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Deb.
Here you go. I factory reset a phone that was suspected of being cloned. That is another reason why Libby's phone may have been reset.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because Frank and I said it a long time ago. Even Keegan Klein's phone could have been cloned.
It's always, I said the same thing. I always thought somewhere along the line, the girl, Libby's phone clone, Derek's phone could be cloned. They have all these numbers in these people's phone numbers. They can clone any phone they wanted to.
You don't have to be next to the person with their phone to clone it.
No.
I done researched all that. You don't need all that.
Oh, I might have missed a question here. At Brandy Bear, we don't know the girls screamed. If they did, the trees, hillside trees, water, etc., could have absorbed all sound. We tested that theory. You would have heard something.
Yeah.
Even in the wind, right, Randy?
Right.
Yep.
So it may not have been clear, but you would have heard it.
I had a lady who came for my reenactment. I told him, go underneath the bridge and scream. You can hear that echoing out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, even when I was down where we thought the girls crossed the river, or crossed the creek, and I was screaming, you couldn't tell what I was saying because it was windy, but you could hear that I was trying to say something.
Yeah.
You see, I could hear it where I was at, where the girls were found, where I was standing on the spot. I could hear Randy from there yelling from the bridge.
Yep. I could hear Randy clear.
Yeah.
He called my name, and I knew it right away. I'm like, he just said my name, and I hollered back.
Yep.
But he couldn't hear me clear.
She was trying to yell her best.
And she was directly across the creek from me.
They heard it, and Frank said that some of the people got shooken up when I started yelling, "Help me, help me."
Right.
Because they could hear it, because they were right across from me, and it shook them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's so many theories, Randy. The girls were killed somewhere else and then brought back to the trails. There's been theories that the girls were taken away from the area, brought back, and then killed. And that's why screams were heard. Anything is a possibility right now.
You know, the story is, at the time, we heard people, well, it was pagan. People took the girls and killed them there and then brought them back. And there's a lot of different things out there that was at the beginning of this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned the pagans. Yes, it's been brought to our attention that the crime scene was left to make it look like possibly pagans had done this, or somebody that, how should I say, studies that religion, I should say, because of some of the signatures that was out there. Whatever signatures were there, we don't know for sure what signatures were there.
Right.
We know of one signature is that Libby was covered up with birchwood trees, limbs, and all that, and leaves and all that stuff.
And leaves.
We know that's one signature.
Cool. I left my phone unattended in a room with person I trusted at the time. Later learned he sold stolen data. Not good.
The Sons of Odin are a motorcycle club. I believe their home base is in Arizona. They don't have a chapter in Indiana. They basically travel throughout the country.
Melissa, it was really warm that day and all the snow had melted. So that's why they felt comfortable walking across that bridge. It wasn't icy or slippery that we know of.
It was dry. It snowed the night before, so, and then the next morning, it mellowed that snow. So, like, late in the afternoon, the snow would have been gone by the time they got out there.
Yeah.
But there was snow on the ground the next morning on the 13th.
Hi, Deb. Oh, I can guarantee you the kids were threatened not to talk. Or their lives would... I mean, they just saw two of their friends
Maggie,
murdered.
I know who you're talking about. Yes, and it's the same person. If it's the same person, yes, I know who it is.
What, Ben? Oh.
Right here.
Are you down at the bottom? Because I'm not there yet.
No, look on the screen. Oh, well, you just...
Well, I just changed it.
What?
They asked
you
me
keep...
if it... Hold on. Right here.
You didn't think Ron was given COVID. Melissa, Ron Logan didn't have COVID. We don't know how he got COVID, but he did have COVID.
And we were also told by somebody that's close to the case that there is a clear picture of BG. How we don't know that.
How clear, we don't know.
Exactly. The girls arrived at the trail at 1:38.
I don't know Raggedy Susan. I'll have to check that out.
Even?
Let's see here. I understand that, Brandy, but we're not put in the position that these people are put in there. This is a big drug area. I've been told that drugs and pornographic rings have been in this area for decades.
Yeah, Delphi's been in the drug business for a long time.
And I know that we don't understand why they wouldn't come forward, but if put in that situation, I can see why they would keep their mouth shut. You've had numerous murders and missing people in Indiana that these drug rings and pedophile rings are associated with.
Yeah, I don't think
In
you know.
their
You
mind-
live in that world. I really don't think you know.
Right. Right.
And a lot of people don't understand about what the MCs are about either. The MCs are known for trafficking. If it's drugs, sex trafficking, murder for hires, things like that. A lot of people think what they see on TV is all fake. It's not. They try to describe what the life is by doing it on TV their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But the biker scene is something you do not want to mess with.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody ever watched the series Sons of Anarchy, even though it was fiction,
Loved it.
That's what happens in the MCs. That kind of stuff does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Support with Steffa says Marv scared Frank and I when we were standing where the girls were found, and I screamed. Yeah, I did.
And like I said before, once we crossed the property line from the Mirrors to Ron Logan's property, as soon as I stepped over knockdown fence, it felt like one of the girls grabbed me by the hand and led me right to the area where they were found. And I knew right then and then they were in our presence.
Sees through. And anybody who is new to the channel, please go back and watch the previous videos. There is a video about the walk that we did in March. And all of our pictures and videos of that area are in that video. Let's see.
And you definitely have to have strength to walk out of that area where the girls were murdered.
Yes.
And I don't think people understand that, man. I just don't think they understand what I mean. I'm 6 foot tall. I might be 52 years old, weigh 225 pounds, and I'm still somewhat got a little bit of athleticism in me. And it took every little piece of fucking energy that I had to walk the ravine to get up to the cemetery. Ask Randy.
Yeah, I told him.
I couldn't breathe by the time I got up there.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I told him it's going to be hard to get it out. And they did.
Even walking across the bridge and down the two hills and getting back up the two hills. That next day on Sunday, me and the kids went back out there by ourselves to get a little bit more video. And I was going to try to walk to the first platform to get a picture, and I couldn't do it. My legs were so shot, I could not.
And then we had to walk 300 from the cemetery all the way back to the drop-off point.
Yep.
Yeah, don't go do Chimney Rock then. There's a whole walk up, and I did that, and I'm a runner, and I was up there, and my legs started shaking, and they were locking up, and I was like, "Oh Lord, I'm not gonna get down from this place."
I think I've been there too.
I want to answer this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sleuth. Yes, you can get from the CPS building to the drop-off point right there on 300. Right there at the Mears lot. Yes, you can get from the CPS building to that drop-off point where the girls were dropped off at from the CPS building.
Support with stuff that says, I almost did not make it going on Ron Logan's property. If it was not for Frank, I would not have made it. That property is no joke.
Mm-hmm. And she chickened out going up the ravine to the cemetery.
Yes. The owner did have COVID. We don't know how he got it. We know that he was in the hospital and that he passed away.
Yeah. He was in the hospital the week before and found out Ron did have COVID. So we don't know how he got it. He had COVID. That is the truth.
Stephanie says, well, they all left me on the way back from Ron Logan's property. I had to walk the trail by myself.
And then she asked me if I had my gun on me. I said, of course I got my gun on me. I said, I wasn't out here without my gun.
That's funny.
You should see Jennifer. She's walking by herself.
And then we started booking it back to the trail and saw her coming up. Or she had already gotten across the Freedom Bridge and everything. But yeah, we were worried we were going to go run and meet her.
We were
Hello, Aspen.
We were dragging ass down 300 on the way back. And then you walk right by the Mears house and you got somebody staring out the window looking at you like, no, we're not the killers. So
you do not have to cross the bridge to get to RL's property.
No.
And Sally even says that side of the creek to Ron Logan property is very steep.
Yes.
Yep.
It was that day.
Mm-hmm.
Here goes Sleuth. Brad Weaver was in the trees watching like the predator. Hey, we were told that Kay said that Brad was on the weird side.
PB has connections in Mauston, Wisconsin. When I looked him up, there was a flag that he's on watch. Yes, we found that out too.
Yeah, he used to live in Mauston. You would have watched our show on Tuesday. We connected dots with him with 3 different murder cases. Not connected him directly to the cases, but he lived in the vicinity of each murder. Each of the murders. Am I a doctor? My gastrologist? What are you talking about, D?
That's what my son wants to be, is a pediatric gastroenterologist.
That means he wants to
yeah. Yes, they did search his home. It was 30 days afterwards, but they did search his home. Oh, thanks, Aspen.
We got a private chat. Who is it?
It's me.
Oh, another 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've gone longer than we normally do.
Yeah, we try to keep it down.
You can see me on, and that's what happens when you get up at 3:30 in the morning to run.
Yeah, well, we promised Sleuth that we would end it around our regular time so that he could do his members only.
Yeah, he changed his.
We try to work with some of the creators to.
Hey, that's good.
I can see the heavy eyes, Shannon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's tired.
But if anybody, one of my mods would please drop her link to her channel for me, please. And everybody go over her page and subscribe. She's got some really good content. I watched her thing the other day. And I really enjoyed watching it, even though it wasn't very long, but it was decent. So
I get mixed feelings on my content, how long it is. So I'm also curious, like what, if you guys want, if you want like longer, because some people hate it too long and some people like it longer. It's hard to know.
We usually go about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Callie, thank you so much for the donation and the super chat.
See you here with you, Sleuth.
Just want to let you all know, if you go to the Marv and Frank YouTube page, scroll down here to recommended channels. True Crime with Shannon's right here. I added her tonight, so please don't go and subscribe and listen to her blog. That's in the description of the video, and then her Twitter is also in the video or in the description of the video.
If I can also get one of the moderators to drop It's a Crying Shame with Adam and Deb, the channel with Sunny, please.
That's also in here.
Yep.
On a laundry, I saw Shannon on a laundry trial. Oh, you probably saw me like on one of the other channels. Yeah, I linger all around. I'm a lingerer. I think I'm starting to become known. They find me and they go, I think I know who you are.
You're welcome, Deb.
Hey, girlfriend, go ahead and drop your link in there so everybody can see it. Stephanie.
I've been on YouTube. I started in November. I didn't get too quick on it, but now I get more stuff. So.
All right, yes. we got 182 people in the chat, but we got 77 likes. Thanks, Sleuth, for bringing that.
Hit that thumbs up.
Hit that thumbs
up. That like button.
I put the thumbs up on it.
Thank you. As you're departing, hit the thumbs up.
And if I can
get that like button.
Yeah, thank you, D. I was getting ready to say that. If somebody can drop support with Stepha's link, please.
Stepha?
It's a Crying Shame. Oh, that's awesome. I love that name. That's awesome. I have to go through all these. I might have to do it in the morning because otherwise I might.
Adam says, y'all, I hit the like button. I hope everyone else does as well. Thank you so much, Adam.
Well, I went up 14 since I said that.
Woohoo! All right, everybody. We're going to close it out for tonight. We've gone on over our time allotment. We want to keep our promise to the other creators. Like I said, Frank and I are going to get together this weekend and go through my whole future plan for our channel, and collaborate and everything. Lots of good things coming up. True Crime with Shannon. Please go check out her channel. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you
Shannon.
for letting me come on. And y'all let me know if you want something more on something or less on something. I'm open. I mean,
Okay.
if you see me cover a topic and you want more, I'm
Hey.
up for it, you know?
If you ever feel like you want us to come on, just invite us on and we'll pop up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a streams going. I'm gonna try to start a couple and get myself used to. I'm learning how to now put the stuff on the screen with me. It's like you have to kind of learn. It's a cycle.
I just learned it in a couple days. So the share stuff on your screen. Yeah.
I know sometimes they
It's
don't
not
move.
that
I'm like
hard.
trying to interact with it, and I'm going, "Why aren't you moving?" I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" And you know,
she got me branded over to where I can get into anything. And so,
oh great.
One day I was just in there fiddling around and figured it out by myself.
Yeah, you really got to take some time, and that's what I was playing with it. And when I do the videos without that next to before I started doing the last 2 or 3, I go in there and I put all the photos and stuff in there, and that takes a long time. Anybody that's done that, going back and editing, and that's why I try to do everything in one shot now as much as I can. Editing is like a long process, and if you do video, y'all know that, or audio.
Yeah. Randy, thank you so much for joining us. We always love your wisdom. As Aspen says, everyone say a prayer for the Williams family tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough day for them with it being Abby's
birthday.
birthday.
Let's say one more happy birthday to Abby, even though she's not here with us physically, but mentally, she's always going to be in our minds and our hearts. And remember, baby girl, we got this from here.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm not going to let you fall through the cracks at all.
Definitely not.
Exactly. So good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
One love.
One love.
All right, cool. Have a good one.